Taryn Lee Griffith was a 24-year-old mom from Nebraska who died in 2021 of a fentanyl overdose. Her father, Mike, said that once you met Taryn, you'd never forget her. She had a personality that drew people's attention the moment she walked into the room, and a big heart for others. The day that Taryn died, she was out with friends and took a pill she thought was Percocet that was laced with fentanyl. And that's what killed her. Taryn's youngest daughter was just 6 months old when her mother died, and she has a 5-year-old half-sister, and they'll have to get to know Taryn through pictures and stories from family. Fentanyl, as I think we all agree, robs children of their parents and parents of their children. They rob communities of our friends, co-workers, and neighbors. From 2014 to 2019, most fentanyl entered the U.S. by the international mail directly from China. Now it's being shipped from China to Mexico, manufactured into pills at illegal labs, and then smuggled across the border. The Mexican cartels have taken advantage of the weak border enforcement to surge a flow of fentanyl to the U.S., with border agents and local law enforcement overwhelmed by the surge of illegal immigration. It's easier than ever to get for cartels to bring fentanyl into the U.S. Last fiscal year, the CBP seized 14,700 pounds of fentanyl. And I can tell you, as my experience as a governor, in the last 2 years of my administration, we saw the amounts of fentanyl, methamphetamine, and cocaine double, triple, quintuple as our state patrol confiscated as it came through our state. Until the Biden administration takes action to secure our southern border to stop the flow of illegal immigration and drugs, I'm afraid that this is going to be a bigger problem in the future. So my question is for Dr. Gupta. CBP reported 156,274 enforcement encounters on the border only last month. With this large amount of unregulated activity and movement of people, is it even possible to stop the flow of fentanyl across the border? Do we need to stop the flow of illegal immigration first? I mean, it seems like either there's more drugs coming across the border, or the Biden administration is not stopping those drugs coming across the border. What's the Biden administration's plan for this?
Thank you, Senator. The fact is, all the elements we have, we know that most of the drugs that are coming through are through ports of entry. And it is through commercial traffic, it's through private traffic, and it's through individuals. We still do not scan enough of that traffic. And that's where the president's talked about making sure that we have scanners, that we do have technology to place and scan every vehicle that needs scanning. We're not there yet, we want to be there. And that's the whole point. So when we see increased fentanyl, it's because we're applying technology. And I want to see every port have that technology and be able to scan every vehicle that we can coming in. But the problem, again, does not begin or end at the border. So we got to be working at ports in Mexico, which we are with the Coast Guard training CIMAR, the Mexican Navy, to make sure that they're doing their job, because they're the ones who are the control of the ports there to stop those shipments of precursors, but also the prepared product as well.
Now, when I was down at the southern border, a couple of times as governor, one of the things in talking to the folks down there, they said is that the cartels will push across a group of illegal immigrants in one location, thus drawing our resources off, and then push the fentanyl in a different location. Is that, so you're saying it was coming through the ports, but when I was on the border, that's not what I was hearing when I was down there.
So we've got to understand one basic pretext here. These are dispassionate businessmen, working men and women, going after profit. So what they deploy these technologies and these tactics to do all of these things. And every time we seize, we deny them the profits. The thing is, these are calculated losses. Instead of going through the unforgiving terrain, they want their retail product to get in the market and make money for them as quickly as possible, and that's where ports of entry make sense. Now, what we have to do is deny them just enough so it is no longer profitable and it no longer supports their operating capital. And that's the strategy that it's important to understand, that working where they're dependent upon their product to get through is exactly what needs to obstruct and disrupt that.
We've talked about the CCP and some of the supply chain there. What's the Biden administration's thought on how we stop the CCP from not only violating our airspace with spy balloons, but also on the precursors in this very deadly drug?
Senator, I've been several times to the border and will be going again. I've seen the tunnels, the subterranean tunnels, as well as marine drones and other aspects. And therefore, it becomes important that We provide those resources to our brave women and men at Customs Border Protection for both technology, infrastructure, as well as resources to be able to go after. And that's exactly what President will be asking for in his budget release soon. But this is why having those 123 additional scanners, the large scanners, is going to be so important at our ports of entry as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.